Holiday.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dennison,
I'm John.
and we're going to be a little different, as you can already tell. This is the catch up, and we're about to get into some stuff. Hey guys, so like I said, we're going to do things a little different, but so we got a really cool episode going on today. It is going to be covering a topic that has become pretty controversial
Yeah.
This holiday season. And I think it's going to be a pretty good debate, especially since we have two opposing views on how it all works
Definitely,
out.
yes.
So, but I mean, to get us started, bro, what's been going on with you? I know you've had a very busy and trying week. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah.
what's going on?
Well, we've had, it's the holiday season. So the holiday season's always busy. You got all sorts of things that you're doing, getting gifts for people, shopping, all that stuff, and it's fun. I love giving to people, and it's funny because like I'm one of those people that like thinks that I'm not a good gift giver, and then like I find these things, I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good gift, um
Mm-hmm.
so it's fun. I like doing that for people. Yeah, we've had a lot going on. I had a death in the family recently, which is always tough, especially around the
Yeah.
holidays. But yeah, and so that's taken time and energy out of me and my family,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, all in all, I love the holiday season. It's the music and the decorations and the gifts and just everybody coming together. I love that. So yeah, man. I mean, I just finished up. So, all right. So this is the 20th of December. I just finished up my holiday shopping today. but 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 Amazon Prime's a hell of a thing, man. So
Oh man, it's amazing.
yeah. So I mean, and then again, I serve at my church. I play guitar there. So um let's see, like even just this week I had practice on Wednesday, church service on Sunday. Monday's Christmas Eve. I have to do two services on Christmas Eve. And so yeah, but that's just typical of this time of year, but I enjoy it though. So I love it. But what about you, man? How's your holiday season been?
It's been pretty hectic, just like yours. It's been very different. I'll say that much. Um, Most companies, it's one thing that's a little different for me. Like this week, we had two company parties, so it was our company-wide Christmas party, which was kind of fun, and then we had our department Christmas party, which was really really
Oh, I
fun.
bet.
We went to a place called like Round One. It's kind of like Main Event, if anyone's ever gone to Main Event, or
Oh
like Pen
yeah.
Stack in some ways.
Okay.
So it's really cool. Well, I mean, we were there for what, 2 hours, I think.
Okay. Cool.
And it was nice. I got to meet a lot of people in my department. I got to beat uh, a couple of my coworkers at bowling, and
Nice.
then I got destroyed by our technology VP, which was not fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, it
Yeah.
was funny because he started the game off. He's like, "Oh, I'm not really that good." And he started the game off with, what was it, 4 strikes in a row?
Oh my god.
I was like,
Who
"Okay,
are you
that's
playing?
not true."
Yeah, who are you playing right now?
Exactly. And so that was fun. I think he ended out with like a score of it was 199.
199? Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang.
He's like, "I was trying to go for 200, but I couldn't get
That's
it."
hilarious, bro. Well, like I know, like, because I'm in a bowling league of sorts, but like it's a handicap
Mhm.
league, but it's not like people in walkers and wheelchairs in there, but like you get like bonus points to kind of like average everybody out, you know. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, and
It's the toilet bowl.
yeah, yeah, it kind of is. It kind of is, but yeah, you know, I think by bowlers standards, like that is like decent, you know, like 200 is considered decent, you know. It's funny
Yeah,
because like to the average
exactly.
person standards, it's like, wow, that's really good. And it is really good, but
Yeah, for me, I'm like, oh man, I didn't even break 100 on that game.
yeah, right? I know that, yeah. That's funny, man.
Carved at that second place.
That sounds fun though. It's always fun like when you get to come together like with your coworkers that you enjoy and you get to do it in a setting outside of work and do it with a bunch of people, you know?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, no, it's really cool, especially since you get to meet people that you didn't even know that were in your department,
yeah.
and you get to have like a nice, meaningful conversations with them instead of like the, hi bye that you do in the hallway. So
Right.
yeah,
Isn't
I,
that
I I
crazy?
really enjoyed myself.
Well, good. Isn't that
It
crazy? Like,
really
yeah,
is.
like when you work at the same place in the same department, you don't even know everybody. Like, that's such a weird feeling, you know?
It really is. I mean, granted, my department is pretty big and it's spread out, but at the same time, I mean, it's a little strange because you would think that everyone would know each other,
Yeah,
but I guess not.
you really would.
Um, but yeah, I met some really cool people, and some newer people that I hadn't really had time to talk to, so it was kind of cool. But yeah, it was enjoyable, and I'm still trying to do Christmas gifts.
Oh,
So
really?
I haven't finished my Christmas
Oh,
shopping yet.
man. Well, again, Amazon Prime's a hell of a thing, man.
I know, man. I know. I'm getting in my last little bit of shopping, and hopefully I'll be done tonight. We shall see.
Oh, good deal. Good deal. Yeah. Yeah, we're recording this late at night once again because that's kind of how we roll. Um,
Oh yeah.
it is worth noting that Dennison and I caught up in person just a few days ago. The rare in-person catch up. Um,
Hmm.
but we didn't get to record an episode. We wanted to, but just with the reason, you know, everything going on surrounding why I was in Texas. We just didn't have time to record an episode. But we will one of these days. We will. Um,
Oh yeah.
but we had a good time though. Yeah, that was probably my favorite part of this season so far. You know, because even in the midst of all the sadness and stuff that was going on, um, you know, you and I had a great time. We had a great time.
Yeah, we did. We really did. It was a nice, relaxing experience, and it was nice that we can actually, I don't know, be normal, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Well, man, as normal as we can be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But no, I mean, you know, it was nice and you know, it felt just like good old times, but it always does. So I'm grateful for that. Um, Also, real quick, I did want to point out to those listening, we've talked about it for so long, but our Facebook page is finally live. So, you know, we've talked about things we want to do with that. And you know, we're gonna do some cool things. Of course, we're gonna share the episodes on there. You'll be able to hear little previews and stuff. We've also talked about like when we talk about a topic, we'll share the article of that topic on there, so you can kind of read more about it and get your own take on it. And you know, uh, if we talk about like say we talked about a trip that we went on, like Dennison went to Denver recently, I went to Las Vegas. You know, we'll share photos from that to kind of connect with y'all a little bit more. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, but that is on Facebook now is the catch up with how would we label that? The catch up with Dennis and John?
No, it's the ketchup with John and
Oh
Dennison.
my. Hey,
Yes,
all right. Well, you know what?
you got the order wrong.
Hey, it could go either way, honestly. Today it's the catch up with Dennis and John, which I'm enjoying so far. Uh,
Oh yeah, man, took over.
I know. Hey, anytime, man, anytime you want to do that, just let me know. But yeah, so
Oh man,
it is called, and the URL is what it's facebook.com/the ketchup cast. Not the catch up podcast because
yes.
that's a different page. So the catch up cast.
They beat us to that
I
name
know.
before we could get it. It's
I
kind
mean,
of sucky, but
yeah,
oh well.
and they have a hyphen in their name. Like, come on now.
I know.
So
Come on, son.
yeah, so just the ketchup, all one word, cast. You know, it's all together, no hyphens, no anything. So, but anyway, man.
Yeah. Anyway, we got that Facebook page up. It's gonna have some really cool stuff, and I'm really excited for just that next chapter. I think I'm sure you are.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I think it's time for the topics.
I think you're
What about
right.
you?
I agree. I think we should take a quick break. But yeah, like you said, we're gonna come back. We're gonna talk about a little controversy over some Christmas songs. You probably have all heard about it because it's kind of hard to avoid having heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more when we come back.
Hey guys, so we're back, and we're gonna go ahead and get into this topic, dealing with a controversial song mainly, but there's a couple of songs that I know that are out there, and it's "Baby It's Cold Outside." Um,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, because I found that there's there's a couple of different versions apparently that have slightly different lyrics and stuff like that. They're all ending to around the same means, but the different lyrics do mean the interpretation changes a little bit. But
For
if we're
sure.
looking at the Dean Martin lyrics, which are
Okay.
maybe not the original ones, but they're relatively close to the original.
I think they are
Um,
the originals. I think like
mhm.
it's just his version of the song, like instrumentally and melodically. I'm pretty sure they are
Ah,
the
okay.
original because like when he would have done it, it would have been so close to when the original came out, you know. So I,
Yeah.
I think I think it is the original.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean, a lot of people, myself included, point out a couple of lines in this song that are a little questionable, little I like to call rapey, but
Oh
um,
my.
I mean, they're a little suggestive. It's a little strange. So, I mean, here's one of them where it's uh, the girl is saying, the neighbors might think, and then the guy says, "Baby, it's bad out there," and then she says, "What's in this drink?" And then the guy says, "No cabs to be had out there." I mean, I don't know. That sounds kind of a little fishy there. I mean, what that guy put in her drink? I mean,
I
she's
know.
not just drinking Sprite.
Uh, yeah, I don't know if Bill Cosby's to blame for this or what, man. Yeah, so I saw this pop up, in the news and stuff. And it seems like everybody's talking about it. I don't even know where it came from. That's a weird thing about these things, It's like what made people start talking about this all of a sudden? You know what I mean?
Well, okay, so I've ever since I heard this song and actually listened to it, which I think that might have been the other thing. I've always been telling people, I'm like, yeah, no, this is not a good song. Like, maybe suggesting some bad stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. It's probably the Me Too movement. Now, when I brought this up to Dennison before we started recording, I did not expect us to disagree on this. Although I will say I can see where people are coming from.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, there's a line here that says, "I simply must go," and then, "But baby, it's cold outside," and the guy says, or no, the girl says, "The answer is no," and then she says, but he says, "But baby, it's cold outside." Like, I mean, that sounds kind of bad.
I mean, okay, yeah. All right, so we looked this up. I looked this up. Genius lyrics. They actually like research the history behind the lyrics or whatever. And so on this one, Frank Loescher, I think is how you pronounce his name. Uh,
Hmm.
some people probably call him Frank Loser, but anyway, um, the only one that they had that you could click on to get the history behind it was the lyric "Say what's in this drink." And so anyway, I'm just read to y'all what it says. It says a lot of modern listeners perceive this as a reference to date rape drugs, but the blog Persephone magazine provides a different explanation, saying it was a well-used phrase that was common in movies of the time period and isn't really used in the same manner any longer. The phrase generally referred to someone saying or doing something they thought they wouldn't in normal circumstances. It's a nod to the idea that alcohol is making them do something unusual, but the joke is almost always that there's nothing in the drink. So, kind of
Hmm.
a play on words. Um, and I could see that because my family, they had me watching a lot of classical movies when I was growing up, and
Hmm.
and so, yeah, I could see that being something of the time period, but I don't know. You said to me that that shouldn't necessarily be an excuse, right?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I understand that they're trying to do more of like a tongue in cheek kind of thing, like, ha ha, like, yeah, but no, I mean, the thing is, if you have your average listeners today, uh, they're not going to go back and look up like, oh, well, when they meant, when they said, what's in this drink, they meant it's just a tongue-in-cheek gag joke, thing that they were just kidding around. There's usually nothing there. I mean, like, most people aren't going to look up that.
Yeah.
Um, and at the same time, you're playing this during the holidays, so your kids are around and a whole bunch of other people. And I mean, I don't know, it's not exactly the most nice thing to hear. Granted, kids aren't, they're going to sing along and they're not going to think a thing of it. But I mean, I don't know. I guess in some ways it comes to a point where it's like, why should we allow this song to kind of keep going? Uh,
Well, I'll say
it's a
this.
Christmas classic, I understand, but
Yeah.
it's not a great Christmas classic because the dude's not really on the up and up. If you get what I'm saying,
Well, yeah, I'll
he
say.
doesn't sound like he's on the up and up.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'll say this. So, I want to say that it was either Dean Martin or Bing Crosby. I think it was Dean Martin sang this song in a movie. Okay, and
Hmm.
the way that played out in the movie, and to be honest, the way that I've always perceived the song, and maybe it's because of what I saw him do, but I always perceived it as the woman playing hard to get, you know, like
Hmm.
she's playing hard to get, but she has every intention of staying there. So it's just kind of like a flirtatious game between the two of them,
Hmm.
you know.
Hmm.
So I mean that's kind of how I perceived it. I will say this: um, there are uh, uh, radio stations that are agreeing with you and I. um, there was, I don't know if you heard this, but there was a radio station in California that banned it from their airwaves. They're never going to play the song again. Okay.
Okay. Okay. I figured California would be the first.
Right? Yeah, you would figure. And then there was another one. I'm gonna have to think. It was either North Carolina or Kentucky. It was that part of the country.
Hmm.
That this made me laugh. They played it for 2 hours straight one morning.
Oh my
They
gosh.
played it from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. or to 10 a.m. 8 a.m. 10 a.m. uh 2 hours straight, different versions of the song, but they played it for
Hmm.
2 hours straight. So
Wow, that's interesting.
I know.
I mean, I, I'll say this. I think we could keep the song on the airwaves, but I think it just needs to be a different version. I mean,
Yeah.
we looked up what the Michael Bublé version of it,
Yes.
and it wasn't even that bad.
He changed the lyrics.
Yeah, and he changed the lyrics. Yeah. Um, so I think if we did that, I mean, that wouldn't be fine. I mean, or that would be fine.
and that gives more fuel to the fire of what you're saying about how the lyrics are offensive and perhaps a little suggestive.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm.
I also think that Michael Bublé appeals to a very specific crowd. But that goes with what you're saying too about more children and mothers especially, and so yeah, I guess that does play into your favor. Um, but my question is this: what do you think? Like, do you think? I don't know. Maybe this is insensitive of me, or my priorities are just different. But I always think when there are things like this, in this case, it's "Baby, It's Cold Outside." Don't we have bigger
Mm-hmm.
things to worry about than this? I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. I don't quite always grasp why topics like this are the ones that end up being what everybody talks about. You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I get that. I mean, so some of that is probably because a lot of people just want a sensational thing to report on. I mean, we always were that's part of the 24-hour news cycle, right?
Yeah,
We're
absolutely.
moving, we're always going from one big story to the next. If this isn't, if one thing gets old and retired or whatever like that, then we need to move on to the next big story or
Yes.
whatever. So technically, I mean, we have far more important things to go on. Like in England, one of their was the second big busiest airport got shut down because someone with a drone continues to fly around there whenever
Yeah.
they start trying to fly, and so so I was like, that's a big issue. Um, but at the same time, like, I think some of this stuff does need to be addressed, just because you have a whole generation that didn't see that movie, didn't see Dean Martin, playing it off as like, she was just being hard to get and she really wanted to stay and she really cared about the guy or whatever like that.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's kind of where this comes up. It's like, we can either go back and say like, hey, well, there's technically a movie that kind of explains the song a little bit better than whatever, or we can change the lyrics around to where it's still appealing and it's still a Christmas classic. Everyone's happy and I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm pretty much just saying is that, like, I think it does need to be addressed. Maybe not as much as it is, as much attention as it's getting right now. But I do feel like, I feel like in some ways we've already addressed it because, I mean, you wouldn't have different like singers like Michael Bublé or whoever else who tends to cover it tend to change the lyrics around.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's different.
No, yeah,
I'll say that much.
that's
It's
fair. Yeah, that's fair. And you talk about the sensationalism of news. I think well, I agree with that. And I think that social media also plays a big part in it because we all know by now, Facebook being over 10 years old and whatnot, people love to get mad on social media.
oh
Um
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, just look at Twitter.
Yeah. Or let's talk about the guy with the big neck in that article I shared a
Oh
couple
yeah.
weeks back. I mean, and of course, that guy's using it for a publicity stunt. And I'm like, you guys owe me an apology for all the hate that you sent my way. Um, but
Yeah, I mean, that guy ended up having like some sort of He did some sort of video with some other weird guy,
Yeah,
which was really strange.
I know.
And yeah, that gained a lot of traction.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, social media, people love to argue, and I think working in the news industry, I think oftentimes national outlets perceive um, what makes the topic actually big. Kind of like take the Starbucks cups for example. You know, that a
Oh,
couple
I remember that.
yeah, like a couple years ago, people were mad about the lack of Christmas on the holiday or on the holiday Starbucks cups, when really there was never truly any message of Christmas on Starbucks cups to begin with.
No,
Um,
no, not at all.
but it was a relatively small group that was loud and obnoxious and got in a lot of heated debates with other people, and it sparked debates, and so that made news outlets think, hey, this is a big deal, people are talking about this, but it was just a perception of it on social media rather than the actual day to day.
Hmm.
And another example.
No, I get that.
Oh yeah, yeah. And another example I saw of the news like sensationalizing things. In the gym I work out in, they have all the major news outlets on, and I think it was Fox News. I was walking by, and they're talking about 27%. Oh, well, yeah, 27% of people think Santa should be a female.
What?
Santa, or it should be a female or gender neutral. And I'm like,
Oh God.
but I'm like, seriously though, okay. Uh, where do you find these people? Like, there are ways. I studied this in college. Like, there's so many ways to sway a poll. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and so like you can sensationalize it and make it look like a big deal. Um, but really, is 27% that much? It's not.
No, it isn't. It isn't. Um, I will say, just commenting on that story, that sounds ridiculous
Oh,
in
I
general.
know. Yeah.
Um,
He has a lovely wife, okay?
exactly. I mean, and he treats her well.
He does. He does.
So, I mean, I don't get it, but I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I guess just kind of going back to the song deal. I don't like. I do agree with you that it shouldn't. In some ways, it shouldn't be something that should take so much um, time from us. It does need to be something that's very. I mean, like it's something that can be changed, which in some ways I think it's already been changed. We've already kind of figured it out because, like I said, we've already had different artists and stuff like that who have decided to change it because they understand that this isn't, it's like, oh, this probably isn't the best to listen to right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably not the best to sing about. But yeah, no, I mean, going back to just, people getting angry and sensationalizing and stuff, and just, I think there's just a certain group of people that it's a small group of people who are very, very loud, and the majority of people don't care enough to actually say, "Hey, like you're stupid." Or at least, or I mean, like seriously, Santa needs to be gender neutral, or he needs to be a woman. Like seriously, why does that even matter? Like, how does that help? Well, it's kind of the same when people this is going to be my opinion, but it's the same when you get like a lot of people who are like, "Hey, man, we need all of our comic book heroes to be women, and they need to be a minority or a black or whatever like that."
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. It's a freaking comic book character. Like,
Yes.
let him be whoever they want to be, or where people are like, "Oh, well, Thor needs to be a woman now," or whatever. I was like, seriously, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
does that change anything? No, it doesn't.
That's a
It's
weird.
still comic book hero.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a weird one.
So, and yeah, no, I mean, it's very strange. Like, people are just getting angry about random stuff, People are getting angry and offended about things that they shouldn't get offended about. or top see that's what I'm trying to say. Like the lyrics thing, yeah, that does need to be a change just because I mean some of those lyrics are very suggestive or whatever. But like Santa need to change? Like seriously, no one cares. Like,
Yeah.
okay, guess what? It's still a pedophile breaking into your freaking house to put some toys in. I mean, like, dude watches your freaking kids.
Yeah.
Like
Oh my god. Oh my
I
god.
mean, I'm just saying, like, dude. So everyone's trying to say, like, oh, well, you just change. I was like, well, still, that still means Santa, whether it's a he, she, it, I don't care. It watches your kids, to see if they're naughty or nice. I
Sure.
mean, he breaks into your house. If you're not nice, he's gonna give you some coal. Like, what the freak? I
Yeah.
mean, is he a coal miner too?
He's got a lot of jobs.
I mean, I don't know. It's just there's just a bunch of like I mean there are a bunch of things that are still very strange about the whole mythos of Santa Claus anyway. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but that I'm getting off on a tangent.
No, no, that's all right. I mean, not to go down that rabbit hole too much more, but you have we've seen just in our short lifespan, relatively short lifespan, that you have these groups on social media that are affecting societal change, affecting policy change, in a variety of ways, and they're actually a relatively small group of people, but because they have this outlet on social media, they seem like, in many cases, they act like they are the voice for the people, and that's we've seen that impact our society a lot. Whereas the majority of people just don't care, you know. Um,
Hmm.
and I will say, for me, I'm a music guy. I pay attention to the lyrics very closely, and I because I try to draw something out of them. Um, I don't care about "Baby It's Cold Outside." Truthfully, I just don't. And maybe that's why I don't think it should be uh changed, or restricted in some ways,
Hmm.
because I'm just indifferent about the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Hmm. No, I get that because I completely understand how you can be indifferent about it. Because, I mean, I always joked around like, oh, well, it's not a great song or whatever like that because of suggestive things. Um, but I guess in some ways I always knew like, well, it is a sign. It's just something that was once part of history. I mean, that's just kind of things that we did back then.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
It was less
again, or go ahead.
well, it was less, I guess you could say, sensitive back then. And I think we have, like you were saying, we have um done things to be more sensitive in this time period, but like you were saying, it's kind of gone overboard to an extent,
Hmm.
Um
Hmm.
yeah, and me saying my indifference towards it by no means putting down your opinion. I respect your opinion, and honestly,
Oh, of course, and
yeah.
I respect yours as well.
Yeah, well, and that's why we were able to do this podcast, bro. but like, um yeah, I think, like, a lot of people, we live in a very offended society, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, people are being offended by being offended. I just
Yeah,
it's just how things go.
exactly, exactly.
It's kind of sad.
It is.
I mean, it kind of goes back to like the whole overarching thing of I feel like it's great to bring awareness, but just don't dig too far into it because it causes more problems than what you're trying to solve. I mean, going back to I mean really just it creates a society who doesn't want to speak to each other.
Yeah,
And I think that's kind of like the root of the problem because I mean eventually we'll get to a point to where everything that you'd say or do will get offended. will offend someone, and so you end up not talking, or you talk through a lawyer or something like that. Like,
Yeah,
you're speaking lawyer talk just to make sure that you don't hurt anyone's feelings or offend anyone. Um, that's why I was like, I do think some of this goes a little bit overboard because it causes, and I feel like it kind of hampers a little bit of freedom of speech in some ways.
sure, sure. Yeah, I totally agree. Um, I think that if we let it go too far, like you say, no one will want to speak to anyone, and our society's already kind of heading that way to a degree. For other reasons, technology and social media and that kind of stuff. But um,
Hmm.
yeah, it just maybe we should just take a chill pill and not have so much pride. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, no, I think so. I think so.
but you know what?
Um,
I think it's about time we jump over to the next topic, bro.
that's what I was about to
Oh
say,
man,
man. I mean, you have those great
I
ideas.
know. Great minds think alike, bro.
No, exactly. Yeah, let's go ahead and hit a break real quick, and let's jump into that last topic.
All right, sounds good.
Hey guys, we're back at it again with our last topic of the day, which for me, it's just about. In some ways, it's kind of going back to our Thanksgiving episode. For me, I'm just thinking of it like as a thankful thing. I'm very thankful for this past year. It's been an incredible blessing to me, um, and I've been very blessed to be able to do the things that I have.
Yeah,
Let's see. I mean, I don't know about you, John. What about you? I mean, I'm sure you had an amazing 2018.
I did. Yeah, it's ended up that way. Um, it was kind of tough. This year was kind of tough, but I have to say
Hmm.
it's finished strong. Um, and first and foremost, the ability to do this podcast with you. Um, and honestly, through it, like it's not an act, that we're catching up through this podcast. We are in many ways. Now we
Hmm.
do talk outside of it or before we record or whenever. But it really has been a blessing to be able to catch up through this, and then, not only that, but to see people respond to it. Um and we have our friends that reach out to us periodically and say, hey, I've been listening, and they'll give us our thoughts. And but not only that, but we've had people, because we can see where the plays come from. We've had people from like Sweden listen to us, or
Hmm.
Mexico, or Canada. And we're trying to build up those subscribers, because we want to provide content that people like. But yeah, to see that and to have that on a weekly basis, that's been pretty cool.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think so. I mean, it's 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 an amazing experience in general. And I think it's something that, to be honest, at the beginning of 2018, I never really would have actually thought that we be doing something like
I
this.
know.
It's one of those things that's been kind of like a pipe dream. Like, yeah, oh yeah, it'd be cool to do a podcast. I didn't really think that eventually we'd be doing it,
Exactly.
and that's what's really cool.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm super excited
Me
about it, or
too.
just really, I think it's just awesome.
Yeah, well, it's something that we've talked about off and on. Dennis and I have talked about doing some sort of project together for a while. At one point, it was going to be like a YouTube series, and logistically, that would have been really hard. um,
That would have been a nightmare.
yeah, long distance. Oh man, that would have been hard. Um, but yeah, we landed here, and it just so happened that we both got really into podcasts about the same time, and we thought, hey, why not us? And um, that goes back to a couple episodes back when we were talking about um just well we're speaking about music, and how a lot of people think it's way harder to actually play at venues than actually it is. It's all about taking that first step. And so
Mhm.
that's what we've done here. We've taken that first step. um but yeah, I'll come back to the podcast in a minute. 2018 was a it's kind of a year in review here. 2018 was a
Mhm.
trying time for me, um in many reasons. But I look to that as a reason for growth, um, a reason for preparing me. I see it as God preparing me for something greater. That's how I always try to look at it. Um, when I have these things, so yeah, there have been some things, and even just with that death in the family I talked about earlier, that's trying right now. That's a tough thing. Um, uh,
Mhm.
but
It is.
I try to see God's presence through it all, and see what I can learn, take away from it in my own life, um, to try and make something better.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So how?
I mean, that's kind of what you want,
Oh
to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So that's what I've been trying to do. But how about you? How would you sum up your 2018?
I guess I would sum up my 2018 as a year of uh, getting out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
Really, I would probably sum up my last 2 years that, but I really feel like this year was really one that kind of forced me outside of my comfort zone, forced me into a whole different situation. I mean, what was it? Um, the beginning of 2018, I ended up going. I was starting my new position at the Container Store, which was really cool. So that was a whole new experience. It put me into a position that was completely different than I had ever experienced, which was amazing. I was very blessed to go on to, and to a couple of exciting trips. I went to LA, which was cool. Something that, to be honest, I wouldn't have thought I'd do, especially since I didn't go with my family, which had, up until that point, it pretty much just been, every trip that I've gone on, it's been always with my family. So that was different because I got to go on a trip with one of my friends and I got to meet some new people. And it was a really amazing time. And then later on, I got to go to South Korea to visit my sister.
Yeah.
So that was another amazing experience. So yeah, it's pushing. I've noticed that I feel like God's been pushing me further and further out of my comfort zone, and making me change the way I see
Yeah.
things. Um, so it's been a big growth year and a big just pushing myself out of the comfort zone and continuing to push myself, because it seemed like every time that I started to get a little bit complacent, a little bit relaxed. Things got stirred up and changed and forced me out of that comfort zone that I love to stay in.
Yeah. Yeah. The Rock, I've always looked at The Rock as kind of a public figure that's a role model. And he always says, never get comfortable. Um, Now, to a certain extent, you want to get a little comfortable, but that is what he's speaking towards
Yeah.
is always, pushing yourself, stepping outside the lines, breaking down barriers and trying new things, and you have
Hmm.
done that, and I've seen you do it, and it's pretty awesome to be able to watch that, uh, as a friend of somebody you really care about, so yeah, this year has been a big one for you, and I'm very happy for you in that. And you talking about that stuff made me think about some more things I got to do. I got to go to Austin. I went to New Orleans for the first time. um I've gone
Hmm.
to several good concerts, and that one that we talked about a couple weeks ago with my mom. that was, that was an
Yeah.
experience I'll never forget, man. That really was. um playing solo acoustic gigs. Really, I think that's the first time in 2 years that I've played. Well, almost 2 years at the time of the first one. That I played gigs, and God knows how long it's been since I did them solo. And that's an experience in and of itself. And so just getting out there and trying new things, it's really a blessing. And this podcast is one of those new things.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So we've been able to do some fun things with that. And um, you know, now, like we talked about earlier, we've created that Facebook page. So you want to go on there and give us a like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but eh,
Tell us how we're
yeah, tell
doing.
us how we're doing. And really, like wherever you're listening to this right now, we would appreciate the exact same thing. Rating, subscription, it helps make us
Feedback of any
feedback
kind.
of any kind, seriously, because we do look at it. And not only that, but we take into account what's being said. And then on top of all of that, it helps make us more visible to other people. And you know, I humbly say that I'm very proud and confident in what we are doing on here, and so we would like for other people to sample it and see what they think. You know, um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but so yeah,
Yeah.
make sure you get on that Facebook page and give us a like.
Please do. I mean, we post really cool stuff on there, and we're trying to move it in a direction to where it's a little bit more creative than your average Facebook page. So,
Yeah.
we're moving and grooving.
Hey, yeah, we're getting there.
It's a learning experience for us all.
Yeah, for sure. We're just getting this thing off the
But
ground.
I mean, we continue. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're gonna continue to get better and grow, and it'll be a wonderful experience.
I
So
agree.
yeah, hop on the train ride.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree. And it was a brief 2018 year in review, but we would wish y'all a great 2019. This is going to be the last episode for us for this year, but we will be back early 2019 with some new episodes, some new catching up to do. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, but we would love to hear how y'all's 2018 went. You can either leave us that on the link on the Facebook page and or whatever. Y- but yeah, this is going to be the last one for this year, and then we're going to come back in just a couple weeks in 2019 and bring you some newer content that's fresh and just continue to build upon what we've been doing. But yeah, it's been fun, man. I've been thankful for this.
Oh, I have been too. It's been really fun.
Yeah.
An experience that I can't wait to continue and grow. And
Absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, this has been our Christmas episode. So Merry Christmas to all of you out there. We hope you have a good
Merry
one.
Christmas.
Yeah,
Happy New Year's as well.
Happy New Year's. Yeah, that's right. And we will see you guys in a couple weeks. But for now, this has been the catch up.